I'm Miguel Medina, and my TED Talk is going to be about rock in Mexico, rock and roll. Well, back in the 1970s, bands like Three Souls in My Mind were ruling the Mexican audience, and concerts like Abanderos de 71 made that every young guy in Mexico got interested in rock in Spanish. Unfortunately, the government banned this kind of music genre and concerts because people who listened or that were involved in this music genre were middle or low class, and the government thought that these guys were delinquents, so they banned it. Eventually, Mexican rock bands in the 70s ended up playing the very famous Hoyos Funky, where rock and roll bands started to play and express their opinion about the government repression. But well, that was the 70s. Rock was banned in Mexico. But it was until the 1980s that Mexican rock bands started to flourish, like the fantastic 1984 compilation album Com Rock included bands like Kenny Los Eléctricos with Me Quieres Cotorrear, Ritmo Peligroso with Marielito, Mask, Los Clips with El Final, Punto y Aparte and Luzbel. Well, that's a fantastic album in 1984, and it was produced by Ricardo Ochoa, a very, very, very good producer. And also in 1984, a band called The Spice of Green Hat, later called Sombrero Verde, and later called Mana, launched their first album, which was pretty, pretty good, with a little touch of the police. Was a fantastic album that shocked the Mexican audience. And for 1987, there were a lot of rock in Spanish bands in Mexico, but they didn't really have support from the record companies because bands from the USA were ruling the market. But bands like Soda Stereo, Radio Futura, and Charlie Garcia were making a lot of noise in Mexico, and so record companies said, well, we are bringing Soda Stereo to Mexico, and it's absolutely expensive. So well, why don't we trust in the Mexican talent, produce some albums in Mexico, and start to sell them and make some money? So that was a plan made by the record company BGM Aureola. They make a project called Rockin' Tu Idioma, and in that project they gathered the best Mexican, Argentinian, and Spanish rock bands to produce one single album, fantastic album that included Caifanes, Soda Stereo, Phobia, fantastic. Radio Futura was also in one of those albums. So that album was a complete success because now Mexicans were listening to rock in Spanish and money was being made in Mexico. So absolutely fantastic album and idea from BGM Aureola. And for 1989, the Rock into Idioma movement was a complete trend by all Mexico. The parties were absolutely infested by songs from Mexico. Songs like El Final from Rostros Ocultos, Juegos de Amor by Neón, Máteme porque me muero from Caifanes. It was, fantastic the 1989 era for the for the Mexican rock bands, but it lasted just about 10 years until the mid 90s because new bands started to come from the USA, new bands from Europe. So Mexicans said, well, we're a little bit tired of this trend. We'll try a little bit different. So Mexican rock bands were just a trend. They were very good, but people just listened to them because everybody was listening to them. So it lasted pretty short time. So well, rock in Spanish was a fantastic trend that ended up in the mid 90s and started in the mid 80s, lasted about 10 years, and it completely shocked Mexico. Sadly, it ended up very quickly, but it opened doors and made a big difference between buying, other stuff from other countries and between trusting the Mexican talent, and that was an absolutely fantastic movement. Thank you.